Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and I was digging through some of the stuff from the Foreign Relations Committee, and I came across this interesting little tidbit that on December 3rd, there's going to be a hearing on the future of U.S. policy towards Russia. So that might be something interesting to pay attention to. But then I also came across this. Yes, the Foreign Relations Committee Democrats demand Secretary Pompeo recuse himself from Ukraine-related matters. And so they've got their nose in a snit here. And here's the letter that they sent to Mike Pompeo on November 21st. Dear Secretary Pompeo, we write to express our deep concern that you continue to impede congressional inquiries into the Trump-Ukraine scandal. Given your direct involvement in the scandal, you have a profound conflict of interest, and you must recuse yourself. You know, this is their story all along. You're in a position of authority, and we can't have that with the Republicans, so you must recuse yourself. Recuse yourself. Recuse yourself. That seems to be what they say a lot. Just my opinion there. Anyway, as you reluctantly admitted several weeks ago, you were on the infamous July 25th call between President Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky. The reason I'm laughing is because look at these words. I mean, as a writer, I'm looking at this going, are deep concerned, and you're impeding congressional inquiries, and there's a Trump-Ukraine scandal. Yeah, but they haven't been able to pinpoint it or find it. But hey, we have people that made up stories about it and have opinions that go contrary to Trump. So they are saying, well, in their opinion, there was a scandal. I'm sorry, there's no evidence whatsoever. But anyway, just look at the words that they're choosing, because the choice of words tells you their motive. I mean, it just screams it. You reluctantly admit it. I don't recall Pompeo reluctantly admitting he was on the phone call. I thought he just plainly stated it. It didn't seem to be reluctant at all to me. And then it says the infamous call. Okay, there's another word. And then, it goes on. We now know, according to today's testimony from Ambassador Gordon Sondland, that you were fully aware of President Trump's scheme, there's another one of those words, to withhold urgently needed security assistance to Ukraine for his personal and political gain. Oh, I'm going to be so glad when all this comes out and they find out that it was not for his personal gain. It was for the good of the country, because it was exposing the corruption that's been going on by these politicians for years. Ugh. So anyway, then it goes on and says, yet you have continued to impede the House impeachment inquiry, again, impede, including by refusing to produce any State Department records on the Trump-Ukraine scandal. Well, if there was a Trump-Ukraine scandal, then maybe he'd produce things, but there's not. And he's not going to just go handing you a bunch of stuff, including those that may shed further light on your own complicity. And see the complicity there? Yeah, another charged word. That's what they like to do. They like to use emotionally charged words that draw the person in with their emotions. It's actually a fiction writing technique, and it's been used more and more in journalism, supposed journalism. Should I put that in air quotes? Journalism? Yeah. So they're using fiction techniques in their writing for, newspapers and everything by playing on emotions instead of using facts. So then it goes on and says, as Ambassador Sondland testified, the department also refused to provide him access to his own materials as he prepared to testify. These acts leave us with little doubt that you are blocking the Congress and American people from obtaining a full account of the scandal. How many times have they used the word scandal here? Solely because the facts are damaging to your and the president's personal and political interests. The only legitimate option is for you to recuse and to delegate the department's response to the Trump-Ukraine scandal to a senior career department official. Get it? We've talked about this before, folks. When they say a career official, what they're saying is one of the deep state players, okay? Somebody who is an unelected official who knows better than you do. Sure, you were nominated by the guy that the American public put into office to appoint people like you, but hey, we know better than that because we're career officials. So we know what's best. Because you know what? That president's going to come and go, but we're still going to be there. Yep, that's what's going on here, folks. And so, of course, we urge you to do so immediately. And it's signed by all of the little Democrats who are part of that committee. Yep, every one of them. They got their little John Hancock's on there. Cory Booker, of course, which, again, why is Cory Booker sitting in any kind of judgment on Trump? Isn't Trump his opponent? Gee, let's see. Trump can't investigate Biden because he's his political opponent, but Booker can sit in judgment of Trump, even though Booker is one of Trump's opponents. Funny how that double standard just... Anyway, so I wanted to point that one out to you. You know, as always, folks, the links will be down below in the description. You may have to click a little arrow or triangle or something to pop the box open, but the links will be down there for you. And then there's this one that is from the Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee. And Johnson-Grassley request records from 2016 White House meetings between Obama administration and Ukrainian government and DNC officials. So here's the letter on that one. This one came out on November 21st as well. And this is to the archivist of the United States, the U.S. National Archives and Records Administration, Ferriero. So here it says, we write to request records of multiple White House meetings that took place in 2016 between and among Obama administration officials, Ukrainian government representatives, and Democratic National Committee officials. According to recent reports, in January 2016, some of Ukraine's top corruption prosecutors and investigators met face-to-face with members of former President Obama's National Security Council, FBI, State Department, and Department of Justice. Other meetings included Alexandra Chalupa, a contractor for the DNC, who reportedly worked with Ukrainian government officials to undermine the Trump campaign. According to Andriy Teleshenko, a political officer in the Ukraine embassy in Washington, D.C., who participated in a January 2016 meeting, quote, U.S. officials volunteered that they had an interest in reviving a closed investigation into payments to U.S. figures from Ukraine's Russia-backed Party of Regions, unquote, which refers to the investigation that involved Paul Manafort. He, quote, recalled DOJ officials asking investigators from Ukraine's National Anti-Corruption Bureau if they could help locate new evidence about the Party of Regions, payments, and its dealings with Americans. During that same meeting, U.S. officials also reportedly brought up investigations relating to Burisma Holdings, the Ukrainian gas company that had hired then Vice President Joe Biden's son, Hunter, to serve as a board member. According to Teleshenko, U.S. officials told the Ukrainians they would prefer that Kyiv drop the Burisma probe and allow the FBI to take it over. Yeah, the FBI. Yeah, the people running the FBI during Obama's terms. Not hardly the people you want investigating Joe Biden's son. According to that same reporting, there were multiple meetings between U.S. officials and Ukrainian authorities in January 2016. It noted that at least one of these meetings was held in the White House's old executive office building, and confirmed that Nazar Kolodnitsky, the head of Ukraine's specialized anti-corruption prosecutor's office, attended some, but not all of these meetings. White House meeting records also show that Alexandra Chalupa, a Ukrainian-American operative who was consulting for the Democratic National Committee during the 2016 U.S. presidential election, attended numerous meetings at the White House, including one event with President Obama. Chalupa reportedly worked to get dirt on Trump from the Ukrainians. Wait a minute, I thought we weren't allowed to do that. You can't talk to the Ukrainians to get dirt on a political opponent. Interesting. For example, in March 2016, Chalupa reportedly met with Valery Chaly, Ukraine's ambassador to the U.S., and Oksana Shulyar, a top aide to the Ukrainian ambassador, to share her alleged concerns about Manafort. Reports state that the purpose of that initial meeting was to organize a June reception at the embassy to promote Ukraine. However, Ukrainian embassy official Andriy Teleshenko told Politico that Shulyar instructed him to assist Chalupa with research to connect Trump, Manafort, and the Russians. He reportedly said they were coordinating an investigation with the Hillary team on Paul Manafort with Alexandra Chalupa, and that Oksana Shulyar was keeping it all quiet. The embassy worked very closely with Chalupa. According to Teleshenko, Chalupa said the DNC wanted to collect evidence that Trump, his organization, and Manafort were Russian assets, working to hurt the U.S. and working with Russian President Vladimir Putin against the U.S. interests. She indicated if we could find the evidence, they would introduce it in Congress in September and try to build a case that Trump should be removed from the ballot from the election. White House visitor logs indicate that Chalupa visited the White House on at least 27 occasions. In 2016, the year of the presidential election, she visited the White House at least 5 times on January 12, 2016, February 22nd, April 4th, May 13th, and June 14th. Amazing, amazing. And by the way, there's the logs. You can see them right there in case you want to go to them. Yep. And so we go on down here. In order to better understand the nature of these meetings, including who attended and what was discussed, please provide the following: all records relating to the 5 White House meetings listed above, and then they give the dates again, including but not limited to purpose and attendees, notes or transcriptions from the meetings, and communications about the meetings, and all records relating to meetings between and among White House officials Andriy Teleshenko, Nazar Kolodnitsky, Oksana Shulyar, and Valery Chaly, including but not limited to purpose and attendees, notes or transcriptions from the meetings, and communications about the meetings. And they want them by December 5th. So there we go. That one as well. These are showing how they're trying to gather information. So the Senate is not sitting idle. They're actually, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing too, but they are actually trying to get some of these documents. So I wanted to point those out to you, but I also want to point out to you this article by John Solomon. And I bumped it up really big, so it may not look like this on yours. Anyway, he says a dozen document troves that could change the Ukraine scandal if Trump released them. Now think about this. Trump has been in the habit of releasing things, hasn't he? So what if he does release these? This could be something huge. And so he goes through and he gives all of them, like daily intelligence reports from March through August 2019 on Ukraine's new president, Volodymyr Zelensky, and his relationship with oligarchs and other key figures. You know, if you go through these, and he does give links, that's always nice to see the links there, but he does give some, and there was a lot going on. And the State Department memos detailing conversations between former U.S. Ambassador Marie Yovanovitch and former Ukrainian prosecutor General Yuri Lutsenko. I'd like to see those too, because he says that Yovanovitch raised the names of Ukrainians she did not want to see prosecuted during their first meeting in 2016, and she says that's fiction. Well, she also says a lot of things are fiction that aren't. State Department memos on U.S. funding given to the George Soros-backed group the Anti-Corruption Action Center. Okay, really? George Soros is backing a group called the Anti-Corruption Action Center. That's just so wrong. It's just wrong. Oh, anyway, I'd love to see the transcripts of Joe Biden's calls and meetings with Ukraine's president and prime minister from April 2014 to January 2017, when Hunter Biden served on the board of the natural gas company Burisma Holdings. That would be interesting. All documents from an Office of Special Counsel whistleblower investigation into unusual energy transactions in Ukraine. And if you take this link here, you find out that they didn't have any problem naming that whistleblower. Not at all. That whistleblower's name appears in that article. So it just, the idea that you can't name a whistleblower is ludicrous. Absolutely. But we all know what his name is, right? So he who shall not be named. All FBI, CIA, Treasury Department, and State Department documents concerning possible wrongdoing at Burisma Holdings. All documents from 2015 to 16 concerning the decision by the State Department's foreign aid funding arm, USAID, to pursue a joint project with Burisma Holdings. All cable memos and documents showing State Department's dealings with Burisma Holding representatives in 2015, 2016. All contacts that the Energy Department, Justice Department, or State Department had with Vice President Joe Biden's office concerning Burisma Holdings, Hunter Biden, or business associate Devin Archer. All memos, emails, and other documents concerning a possible U.S. Embassy request in spring 2019 to monitor the social media activities and analytics of certain U.S. media personalities considered favorable to President Trump. Yeah, really, that happened. All state CIA, FBI, and DOJ documents concerning efforts by individual Ukrainian government officials to exert influence on the 2016 U.S. election, including an anti-Trump op-ed written in August 2016 by Ukraine's ambassador to Washington, or efforts to publicize allegations against Paul Manafort. All state CIA, FBI, and DOJ documents concerning contacts with the Democratic National Committee contractor named Alexandra Chalupa and her dealings with the Ukrainian embassy in Washington or other Ukrainian figures. You need to really go through and read all of these, underneath each one, because he does a good job of, giving questions that you might ask about that. Now, here's another one. I mean, these are just some things that I wanted to point out to you, and I just don't want to take the time to say a whole lot about them, but this was a very good little thing. Louie Gohmert's YouTube channel posted this, and he talks a little bit about the impeachment hearings. He also talks about General Flynn's case, and it lasts for about half an hour, but it's really good. He says some really good things. And then I wanted to point out something that I heard. They say that Ruth Bader Ginsburg, if it really is her, is planning on staying in until after her next birthday. Okay, folks, the timing of her next birthday. Her birthday is on March 15th. Beware the Ides of March, huh? Well, if she stays in that long, then it's going to be late enough in the year that the Democrats are going to go, you can't appoint another Supreme Court justice at this point. Remember, Antonin Scalia died in February, and you said that was late enough in the year, and it was an election year, and there was no way you were going to let Obama, appoint Merrick Garland there. So I'm sure that's what they're going to do. I've been sure of that since square one. So they've been doing a little weekend at Bernie's, and they're going to continue to do that until after March 15th probably, or somewhere thereabouts, because as long as they can keep her in there, then, get her past February and they're home free so they can win the 2020 election, right? That's just not going to happen. It really isn't. It's just prolonging things. So we will probably be without a Supreme Court justice for at least that length of time. And of course, if you watch my video on Chief Justice Roberts, there's going to be an interesting thing going on there. And speaking of that, I found out a couple things about Chief Justice Roberts. First of all, it says disability or vacancy. So under this code right here, it says when the Chief Justice is unable to discharge his functions or when that office is vacant, the Chief Justice's duties are carried out by the most senior Associate Justice until the disability or vacancy ends. And currently that would be Clarence Thomas. So it sounds to me like that is, a temporary thing. So I don't know if that means that he could temporarily take over that position to preside over the trial. But even if he did, he'd do an awesome job because, Clarence Thomas is a very strong conservative. And, I've read several of his opinions and he does an excellent job. The man is very smart. He doesn't talk much on the court. He rarely ever asks questions. He listens though, and he picks up everything that's going on. So, that would not be a bad thing if he was put in that position. It would be preferable to Roberts. Roberts just can't because he is a fact witness. And in fact, this is a video you need to watch right here. This is Citizens Investigative Report, KDG, and she does an excellent job pulling these together, these clips here. DeGenova talks about, the upcoming wonderful little reports. And then also there's a little bit about Devin Nunes, and he's planning on suing CNN and the Daily Beast, which is very interesting. And he also equates that with some criminal behavior. So I thought that was very interesting as well. And you really do need to see this because DeGenova, again, reinforces the whole idea that Chief Justice Roberts is a fact witness. And so he shouldn't be able to preside over the Senate if they go ahead to the trial. So anyway, I wanted to point those things out to you. Oh, and one last thing about the Chief Justice. I'm pretty sure that the person who gets to be Chief Justice is appointed by the president. That the president makes that decision as to who out of the justices on the Supreme Court gets to be the Chief Justice. I think. Okay, it was really nebulous about that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was saying. And so that seems to be also a good thing, that Trump would be able to nominate who he wanted to be Chief Justice. So, I don't know. Clarence Thomas would be a good Chief Justice. He would be excellent. The problem is he has talked about retiring. And I think he probably will retire before the end of Trump's second term. I think that's what his plan is, because that way they can get a younger man in there. And I think he's just tired of the battles. I really do, because he sees how far the country has gone. Now, I don't know. Maybe everything that's going to be happening soon is going to change that around. But anyway. And then the last thing I want to talk to you about is BitChute. Okay, folks, I'm working on it. It's just that this month, the month of November, is National Novel Writing Month. And there is no way in this world I can add anything else to my plate right now. I just can't until November 30th is over. December 1st, I can work on something else. But I just don't have the energy to be able to do it. I'm putting everything I have into my writing right now. And, getting the videos done, it's just all I can manage. That's like the limit of my energies, folks. So don't worry, I am going to get it. I have an account at BitChute, and it's Truthification Chronicles. But I just don't have any videos up because I just haven't had the energy and the extra time to be able to do that. I wish I could clone myself. That would be really nice, because then I could have one of them working while the other one's sleeping. That'd be wonderful. But yeah, the chronic fatigue syndrome kind of really kicking my butt this month because of the writing. I'm really diligently trying to get this book edited so I can get it out there, okay? It's a good novel. I think you'll like it. So anyway, that's what I've got for you on this one. I want to thank you for stopping by, and I'll see y'all later.